Hi, everybody. Welcome to this month's version of the NeQter Labs monthly town hall. Once again, it's going to be Patrick and myself walking you guys through some information on Nectar and any updates on the CMMC. Specifically today, we're going to be doing another review of the 2.21.0 update, as well as giving you guys a little preview of the 2.22.0 update that will be coming out shortly. Patrick is going to take over from here to walk you guys through everything today.
Yeah, hey everybody, happy spring. It's a bigger webinar than I thought it would be, so we'll look to kind of cover everything as quickly and succinctly as possible, but we also look to be thorough. So I know a vast majority of everyone is on 221. And so just wanted to do a brief summary of that update. And we have now upcoming shortly update 222. So there's we thought it was going to be a small update, and then it grew a little bit. So we'll be covering that. And then to start off, there is a new subscription tier I wanted to bring up, and then we'll end with the just a rehash of ecosystem updates, and if anyone has any questions on those things. So Nectar Light is something that we're excited to come out with. It will be coming out in the 222 update. Essentially, it's going to be a new affordable tier of Nectar. We're trying to keep costs down. There's a lot of factors with overhead and our own team and the economy at large where costs just keep increasing. So we wanted to offer a new tier, Nectar Light, that it does have ads. I will say that, and it's not going to be invasive. It's just like stuff on log off or clicking around. Certain things will pop up. Nothing too terrible, but it's a new affordable option that we're offering now. So won't interfere with tool functionality, just might, as you go and peruse, different websites similar to that look and feel. Moving forward, everything's going to be at Nectar Light. And then if you want to go ad free renewals, in moving forward, it's going to be at the new Nectar Standard tier that we're introducing. So a little bit something new to start on April 1st. That's big joke, not doing ads. That would be terrible. But was trying to come up with something a little fun to add in today for April Fools. We've never done one of these webinars on April 1st, so wanted to throw that in there. So in terms of what actually is being included with Nectar, so with update 221, as everyone knows, we added some additional functionality to 365. So with having the multiple option for if you have additional tenants of 365 with commercial GCC or GCC high, you can add them at the same time. And then you can customize what the tenant ID is going to be, kind of the name of the tenant, so you can track it better and have of those different tenants listed out, different subscription types for, of course, like Azure and DLP and Exchange as per usual. And you'll also be able to edit, of course, if you haven't done that already. You can edit now. You don't have to turn it off, remake, and add the 365. With 365, hopefully, it's been a couple months at this point, so hopefully everyone is enjoying the new kind of enhanced logging and parsing that we added, because there's 100 or so different fields that are parsable now across the different dashboards that we have for 365. So several new dashboards with all activity, Exchange, SharePoint, basically a dashboard per quote unquote subscription type that we are pulling with those 365 ads, 365 subscription. So in terms of the other features that were added, we have gotten some questions on this, so wanted to rehash with down detection. So right now there's a singular slider or singular ability of, okay, what's the frequency that we want to be able to check our inputs, that we want to be able to see, okay, when are we receiving, when are we not receiving syslog from a certain integration. And then there is the status area where we can see, okay, in the last 24 hours, have we been receiving logs, or have there been determined logs from this certain syslog input? Outside of that, there was, of course, the added SPRS score for CMMC Level 2 system security plans. And now that I'm talking out loud, I should have included this later. For those of you that use SPRS, they added in the new, kind of CMMC feed with EMAS and all that there. So um, seeing what your score is going to be kind of crucial as you go and look to get certified or get different assessments for CMMC. So there is the report, of course, that the SPRS scorecard for CMMC SSPs now, and again, just a carbon copy of what we had for the NIST side. There's also the enhanced custom reports and alerts functionality, where HTML reports are an option for custom reports. And additionally, there's the saved searches component with added fields, where you can adjust the reports to only have the columns that you select when you do a custom search. And this is going to carry forward as we move into our big update version 3, where alerting is going to be completely redone, and having those added fields selectable is going to be very important when it comes to saved searches. Another nice to have, or in my opinion, kind of a needed to have, was the ability to search historical reports, and then also filter by report type or report format to more easily find past reports that were generated that you ran. So that was just a quick overview. I've kind of gotten tired of reviewing that update. It's a great update, but have kind of covered it the past 2 or 3 webinars or so. So I'm really excited to talk about new stuff.
Yeah, Pat, before you move on to 222, there is a question
Oh, sure.
from Seth about the HTML reports. He was wondering if there's any way we could switch those from being an attachment in the email to having them be inline in the email instead.
Okay. Um, that's interesting. I'm sure that's something that could be done. I also know that we talked about adding in rather than just the HTML, having PDF format as an option. So of course, having the PDF attached will operate as you would like to. Having the HTML inline, it might be we add the PDF, and then that becomes the option that people like, as opposed to HTML. But it's something that we can put in our feature requests channel internally, so we can talk about it at this week's meeting, depending either or, if inline makes sense, or is just that will kind of be done away with, or be unnecessary if we add PDFs as a format. So, and then looks like Kevin's helping with tech support. So appreciate that, Kevin, in the chat. um, so for the upcoming update 222, one of the things that we had a lot of people asking about, and it was a lot larger than we thought it would be, was Ubiquity support. So reason is because with Ubiquity, there's of course the access points, Unify Manager, switches, that all write different logs or display their logs differently when it comes to syslog. So we tested all of those in the input support stat. So syslog input, just like everything else, now Ubiquity is an option in the drop down there, so you won't have to send to the other index for Ubiquity. So we have a tailored dashboard. I actually had to crop the our dev who worked on this, Austin, sent me a massive complete page grab of the full dashboard, and it goes further than this because there's different sections that relate to users and outcomes and devices, and there's a wealth of information that you can, of course, get from Ubiquity, whether it be the Unify Manager or different actions or events that are happening on the access points. So very, very detailed, very detailed dashboard, including alerts that we added for Ubiquity as well. So in terms of, I see we have a question from Brian about I'm unfamiliar on the Livestorm app, if you can kind of full screen instead of having that might be a question. I don't know if Nick, if you've dealt with that, just to be able to see the slides. I will say in terms of if you're looking to look at detail on this dashboard slide here, I won't be able to zoom in any further on this. But yeah, you should be able to kind of full
I was
screen.
about, yeah, I was about to say what Jacob just said in the chat. If you click on the display button down below the slides, there's an option to go full screen from the picture that's set by default.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think it does like shows chat and it makes it smaller. So yeah, you can go full screen from there. Appreciate all the tech support in the chat. The chat today has been very helpful. So yeah, so super stoked about Ubiquity. Something that NeQter we actually use internally. So and we want to appreciate anyone who sent us logs to really work out all the nooks and crannies of the different events that we had to parse for Ubiquity. So outside of Ubiquity, in a different area of the tool, we added the capability to import and export system security plans now. So there's a couple different ways that this can happen. I'll get into shortly. There's different templates that you can download as a base template. So if you're new to NeQter, or maybe you've never used the system security plan builder in NeQter, so what you can do now is, if you already had maybe like an Excel, or you were utilizing a different GRC tool and exported that out, you can now assemble and build that template out to import into NeQter. Obviously, we added the option to export. You can export in PDF or the native CSV that we had prior, or now there's a new template option. And so if you needed to export from NeQter and import it into a different NeQter, or of course we'll get into this later this year, but we've kind of soft launched the policy tool in the cloud on its own. So if there was sending and receiving from that, this template export allows you to do that now. So there's 3 templates currently supported: NIST 800.171 Rev 2, CMMC Level 1, and CMMC Level 2. So basically, there's going to be just a few columns: title, status, response, notes. And there's certain values that are kind of hard coded that need to be selected from different drop downs so that it works with the how we store the data within NeQter. So of course, there's the export option, there's the template, and then now there will be a create a system security plan, a source option, so you can import that template, that CSV template, to make a system security plan. And it's locked to the template that you imported it into, right? So if you use the NIST template, you can only import and make a net new NIST SSP. If you use the CMMC Level 2 template, you can only make a CMMC version 2 net new system security plan. And then, of course, within NeQter itself, there is a conversion mechanism, so you're not punished if you choose one rather than the other. So this is a feature that we've had a few partners who maybe are transitioning away or would like to transition away from a current GRC provider. This allows them to do that easily. So outside of the system security plan area, we added some nice new features for alerts, where there's a alert highlight area. So when you're going to click on an alert, it has the details as per usual right now, but then at the top, a summary or highlights of the outcome, of the description, when it started, when it ended, so that you can quickly eyeball, okay, well, what was this alert and what happened? This is something that people have been clamoring a long time for, and it was nice that we were able to kind of shoehorn it into this update. So not just internally for the alert highlights, we can also see this via emails, the alert emails that we get. So we kind of rework that to include more information for the alert that we're receiving from NeQter. Outside of that, we added in, so this is something that we always had in here, and this was something that our support team leveraged, but now we have enabled, or are going to in update 222, enabling the NeQter events index pattern. It's a local events that are generated from NeQter. So when people log in, settings are changed, backups run or don't run, those write to an index pattern. We're making that available to view. And then it's going to do a couple things. It will allow easier troubleshooting for support, because previously somebody would have have an issue that needed to be troubleshooted by support, and we set up a support session, we remote in, we look at the logs, and we go, oh, well, that was easy, or we could have just done this. So now when you write a ticket or just send a support or on the phone with support, you can say, oh, well, I got this event, NeQter, this failure happened, or this event happened. And then it's also going to allow you to create alerts, if you'd like to, for different events that have happened within NeQter. We're going to be adding some more templates for these, and we're going to be adding more event types to this index. But it's just a nice start to be able to, you know what, I want to receive an alert if X happens within this index. You're going to have that ability now. And then I summarized all of these as additional enhancements that we had. We have a large list of different fixes of different issues that people came out with or identified. And that's a whole other list that I didn't even include in here. These ones I will cover. So next month, the update will be out. It's in testing right now. So I can go and show visually these different ones, but I just wanted to summarize here the additional enhancements that this update included. One of the things was numerically ordering the event ID list in the agents area. So instead of having them listed by when you added them, listed by in order of event ID number, which is something that I asked for. Adding the ability to sort alerts alphabetically is going to be an option in the alerts table. Additionally, this was a big one for me because I always, I do a lot of demos. When you create a default report, so say it's like the inventory report or the vulnerability scanner report from NeQter, it's going to insert by default that report kind of main name, and then you can go and customize it later or change it later, but it will save some typing time just by at least labeling what the report is when you download it. We added quality of detection filtering to the vulnerability tables within the host tool. Of course, that was a function within the vulnerability scanner directly, but now we added that into the host tool. Added NeQter logout events. The 365 guide links have been updated. We added title visualizations to the metrics tab, and then a refresh button was added to the events page as well. In addition to changing some of the time selection to make it easier. But yeah, that's just about lot crammed into, supposed to be a small update, and then we fortunately were able to bang out a lot of nice to haves and need to haves and fixes that clients like everyone on here requested. So that was good to see. I see that somebody is typing out a question, so I'm going to pause for a second, see if that comes in. Otherwise, yeah. So, yeah, that's an easy question. Lorenzo, looking to move from the appliance to the VM. You'll need to interact. It will be good to interact actually with Nick on the call here and support in order to help you transferring over. But yes, the licenses are the same. The features are available whether you're using an appliance or a VM. And unlike the top of the call today, there's no ads. There's going to be no ads on those licenses. So for ecosystem update, really nothing is kind of changed between now and last month. This happened, I believe, last month, but just wanted to reemphasize that, of course, Katie Arrington that was named as the acting DoD CIO. Katie, as many of you remember, helped to kind of spawn the CMMC program under the first Trump administration. So there was, of course, at the top of the year, a executive order enacting a freeze, a 60-day freeze for all legislation, or rather all rules. And that freeze is thawed. That's gone away now. And by all accounts of everything that we're hearing from within the Pentagon, everything is moving forward as per usual when it comes to the 48 CFR. Establishing the CMMC program rule. So again, a little kind of call out here. If there is anyone that needs to get a assessment or would like to be, have some help vetting C3PAOs, that's something that please feel free to reach out to NeQter about to help to identify, or just general questions on what the process looks like, general questions on what the cost breakdown could look like for either a mock assessment or a full actual certification assessment. So yeah, it's we know quite a few customers have been going through this process. We've actually, interestingly enough, have adopted some and signed on some new clients who have already gone through the process either through JSVA or have gotten a CMMC level 2 certification already and are kind of, shopping around to see, okay, could I get a new sim that's more affordable than the process that we previously did and stuff like that. So we're here, myself, Nick, and anyone from our team is a good sounding board to ask any questions about C3PAOs for getting CMMC assessment. And additionally, we do also have Canadian clients. Of course, Canada recently came out with the Canadian variant of CMMC um, that went official this past month. So a lot of moving pieces when it comes to CMMC that we're happy to answer. So always want to see if there's any questions about anything with NeQter that we can help to answer. Um, Either showing the tool with the current version with 221, and then I will be probably taking a bit longer. I looking at the time today, so I kind of quickly pace through everything. But next time we'll definitely do a deep dive and show off the platform with the new update to work out all the nook and crannies, work out all of the nice new features or enhancements that we added to NeQter. So yeah, gonna pause, gonna wait a couple minutes to see if anyone had any questions about NeQter at large.
Yeah, Pat, I'll throw a couple of questions out there for you that I've been hearing, specifically in regards to the hosts area of the platform.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think primarily is is it possible, and if so, what is the best way to visualize the last user that has logged in on an inventoried asset? With
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. So let's go to host to take a look at that. So there's kind of two ways that we can view users if we look on a host. So if we click on this host here, which is the one that I'm using right now, um, we click on this hardware tab. So I can see active users. So that's going to be the user I'm using right now. And I can see the session start of this. It's also going to list out all local users that are present on this account and as on this host rather, and we can see there are certain ones that are just baked in by default. So like default administrator, default account guest, this utility account, and I can see the last logins for these accounts listed out. Now, if I wanted to do that for all assets, I go into hardware up at the top here. I go over to the right and I click on this host hardware dropdown. And then I can I can go to users. So it will list out the active user. Um, and I can see, okay, well, this is when this user logged in the start time of the active user. Or I can go and click on local users and it will list out all users that exist and when their last login was. Obviously, when I generate the inventory report that we have up here, full inventory report right here, and generate that Excel, um, users is going to be a list. So if we go over here and we click over, we have the same. We have users listed out, which indicates an active user, and then all local users listed out per asset, name, last login, description, and then some other things about passwords and what have you. So hopefully that covers that question.
Yeah, I think that was a good cover. The only other question that I've gotten recently that would be good to show, because it's also in the host tool, which is probably one of the more verbose areas of the Nectar, would be the best way to display available disk space on an asset as opposed to just using the field to show the available RAM.
Mm-hmm. So available disk space. So again, so there's a couple things here. So if we're pulling metrics from an asset, we can see that listed out here. And it will equate or value, total disk used for an asset. And then we can actually see the drives listed out here and their percentage. And that's from a metric standpoint. If we wanted to look at hardware for a host, we can see the storage drives listed out and their use percentage. So this is copied as well. If we go into the hardware area here, again, we click on this drop down, we look at storage drives, and then if we're looking for a particular host, I can search it, and then we see those indicators here again. um, the used percentage of the disk, and then how much is free or used in gigabyte breakdown here. So yeah, so we can see the file systems devices drop down provides us with the hardware element of a system component. So we can see, okay, well, this is a Samsung 500 gig, and what's the total available firmware version. So it gives us the hardware aspect, and then the storage drives is going to give us the volume breakdown of the different drives and their mount points that are available. So yeah. Anything else that you've seen recently that would be good to cover?
Um, Unfortunately, no. That was just about the only two things that I thought might be something that could be flying under the radar for uh people as far as customizing these dashboards to display specifically what you're looking for.
Mhm.
Um, Other than that, I think we are just going to have to leave it open to everyone in the webinar today to see if anyone else has any questions or anything else they would like to have you show them.
Yeah, so we'll wait, a minute to see if anyone has anything else. Um, otherwise we can look to wrap up early today. And again, as always, these are recorded and put up on our YouTube channel. One of the things that we're trying to do is be a little bit better with our content and our presence through marketing. So we're starting to take snippets out of these webinars, and I'm also going to be recording some additional short or literally shorts for YouTube on different how-tos and Q&A. So if anyone has any recommendations for, hey, here's a short 1-minute video you could do on X, that would be very helpful. Feel free to let us know. See someone typing, so give everyone a minute to
Yeah.
kind of wrap up here. Okay, waited for Kevin to comment that he thinks that we should wear our Dunkin' Donuts costumes. So I'm glad we waited. I'm glad we waited for that. Thanks, thanks, Kevin. But yeah, well, if you want to take us out, Nick.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you again, everyone, for joining us for this month's NeQter Labs Town Hall. I hope Patrick got all of you as well as he got me with that April Fool's joke in the beginning that he did not tell me about. Um, and Kevin, thank you as always for helping out in the chat. If anyone has any questions, about anything outside of what went over today, feel free to email me anytime at nferda@nectarlabs.com. Looking forward to seeing you all again next month and on our quarterly reviews. Have an excellent rest of the month.
Thanks, everybody.